Clover Academy Noelle is out in Black Clover Mobile on the global version of the game. It did take me a few more days to get this build guide out because I had to get her from the gateway of Reunion because I was not lucky enough to pull her like when I pulled Rill. But we got her, and honestly I think she's a fairly decent unit, but if you had to pick between the two, I would probably go for Rill. But today we're going to talk about how you guys should be building this character, what skills you should be upgrading first, what skill pages you should be equipping to her, what gear you want to run on her, whether or not she's actually worth enhancing or pulling for to get extra dupes, what talents you want to run on her talent tree, and then of course, what teams is she going to fit well on. So to start off with, let's talk about her passive. You get this passive just for getting her to LR status. At the start of the battle, inflicts a 35% reduced damage dealt debuff on all enemies for 1 turn. That is insanely good, and literally because of that one skill right there, I can think of so many potential teams to put her on where she will be good. Her skill 1 is called Water Sphere Strike, and this inflicts barrier immunity on an enemy for 2 turns, meaning they won't be able to use barriers, which that can be really good, especially when going against like the green Charlotte, and then grants an SP +1 buff to the ally with the highest all attack, which can also be very good. The skill 2 is called the Magic Practice Fail, removes 2 instances of continuous damage from all allies. For every instance of continuous damage removed from an ally, grants them 7% of own max HP as continuous HP recovery for 2 turns. That amount will increase as you upgrade the skill all the way up to 10%, so it is kind of worth upgrading. And if you're able to remove a ton of continuous damage, for example burns from Marileona, you will be recovering quite a bit of HP. So this character is literally designed, I'll tell you right now, to counter Marileona teams, and she works pretty dang well for that purpose. And then we have the special skill. The special skill is called I'll Succeed This Time. Grants all allies HP recovery equal to 35% of own max HP, removes 2 debuffs from all allies, and grants all allies an increased damage resist level 3 buff for 2 turns, okay? So this right here is what I think makes her really good, specifically the damage resist by 32%, because that is insanely good when coupled with her LR passive that on turn 1 also gives damage resist to allies. So you're getting a lot of damage resist with this character if you can make her fast as well. Now for speed, she doesn't have the most speed to start out with, so keep that in mind. Your other characters will probably be faster, but that's okay because that means by the time this damage resist wears off from turn 1, then you're immediately able to get more damage resist back up with her, which is kind of nice for the way that works out. Additionally, if you pair her damage resist on her special skill with other characters reducing damage like Season 6 Charlotte or other characters who give defense like Black Asta, she can be insanely good, right? So you can see the potential in that, and then also giving a lot of healing if you have her own max HP fairly high. So with that said, you're obviously going to be building her for the HP stat. We'll talk more about that when we get to the gear. And then last but not least, we have the combined attack. Grants the partner mage 10% of own max HP as continuous HP recovery for only 2 turns though. And then grants the partner mage debuff immunity for 2 turns. That debuff immunity could be very good. So in most circumstances, I would say you're probably going to be using the special, but once in a while you might want to use the combo. But in terms of upgrade priority, in my opinion, I think the special has the most value. So I would go for that first, then I would go for the skill 2 because that's also going to be like one of your highest possibilities of healing or doing the most healing. Then I would honestly probably either go for the combo skill or skill 1, probably the combo skill first I would say, and then skill 1 because skill 1 doesn't really need to be upgraded, it just gives you extra damage which isn't really necessary. So I would go special skill, skill 2, combo skill, skill 1 in terms of upgrade priority overall. Now in terms of skill pages, I do not have her skill page, but that's okay because I actually think this skill page might be a little bit better in the long run to run on her. So this skill page right here I think is one of the absolute best you can run on an HP type healer because it increases their max HP by 20% if you have it fully duped out, which is a lot. It's a lot less when you don't have it fully duped out, right? But still, having this skill page at all equipped to her is just going to help her heal more and do her job better. So I think the skill page is a very good option in terms of what you can run. But if you don't have this skill page or you don't have it max duped, there are some other options. So option number 1 would obviously be her own skill page, New Year Passion, and what this is going to do at the start of the battle, grants an ally attacker mage 10 to 20% increased max HP. That does not stack. However, that's only for an ally attacker mage at the start of battle. Like, it's okay. I don't know. I prefer things that do things for the whole team, right? So I'm not the biggest fan of that personally. But then she also gets the skill 2 additional effect of releases abnormal statuses from a designated ally. That could actually be fairly decent. So for that alone, it might make her skill page kind of worth it, but that is just another option you could obviously run, and a lot of people who pull for her probably also have her skill page, but I still like the skill page that increases her max health to increase her overall amount of healing. Another option you could run would be Season 1. Yeah, Season 1's Mimosa's An Elegant Beginning. And this has a 20 to 25% chance of removing 1 debuff from all allies upon using Skill 2. So her Skill 2 is already removing continuous damage, so why not remove debuffs as well, is what I was thinking when I picked this one. So it's another good potential option you can run. And if at any point I call Noelle Mimosa or Mimosa Noelle, I get those names mixed up all the time. I can't tell you why, but just know that I am probably talking about Noelle for the majority of this video because it is a Noelle build guide. So I apologize if I ever say Mimosa. I know I did that in a summon video, so yeah, just you know what I mean if I do that. Hopefully I haven't done that yet, but there's a high possibility I have. Got one more skill page to show you. And for the last skill page, this is an SR skill page. It is the charming one, Meat Enthusiast, and this one is another one that applies 7 to 15% increased max HP to yourself. Once again, I like this one because it increases her overall healing. Now that we are done with skill pages, let's talk about how you guys should be gearing this Noelle. So let's talk about sets first. I would go for a defense, an HP, and a mobility set. HP is essential to giving her more healing. Mobility is essential to letting her actually heal and go in a timely manner because remember, her speed is not the highest, and then defense just to give her more survivability. As for what you're going for, you're going to be going for magic attack on these 3 up top, and then for the other 4, you're not going to go defensive, but you're actually going to go for HP. So you're going to go for HP as your main stat. Okay, so ideally you're going HP and magic attack as your main stats. Now in terms of substats, the substats you're going to want are going to be HP increasing percentage substats, like this one right here. It's a 1.2%. That one's actually not the greatest because it's a C rank, but you want to reroll until you get HP percentage stats, and that's going to be really good on her. You are also going to be looking for things like damage resist, crit resist, and defense percentage. So not defense right here, but like it would be a percentage number because that would be a little bit better. Those are the substats I would look for on this character. Give her more survivability and more healing overall. And really quickly, I try to go over this in most of my build guides. This is for newer players. When I say you want these sets right here, these are gold sets. Gold sets are always better than normal sets. So like a gold defense set is going to give you an extra 30% defense. So if I go over here to grade and I go to sets, you have your normal sets over here: attack, defense, HP, mobility, so on and so forth. Over here, you have your gold sets. Gold sets have gold stars, and that means they're typically going to be better than your normal sets. And then beyond that, you have these special sets that all have like special like rules, and if you meet them, like you're above 90% health, you get a special added benefit of like extra defense or stuff like that. But in general, for Noelle, I wouldn't really worry about those extra sets too much. Not too many of them, I think, are going to come into play too often. So these are the general sets I would run on this character, and those are the stats and substats I would go for. Now, beyond gear, is she worth enhancing? The long story short is no if you're only going for 2 dupes, okay? Because at 2 dupes, if continuous damage is inflicted on self, she has to be inflicted with continuous damage, which she removes, by the way, she gets a 10% increased mobility buff. So, like, that's okay. It's really not that much. It's not worth it. Like, granted, she needs as much speed as she can get, but she's then removing the continuous damage from herself when she uses her skills. So she won't have that speed anymore. So it seems kind of weird to me. Okay, but I wouldn't worry about getting that too much because it's not going to make a massive difference in the way she plays. Now, what does make a difference is if you are able to fully dupe her out. She gets the additional effect of every turn grants all allies 20% of own max HP as HP recovery. That could be very, very good and be a game changer for her, right? And she also gets an extra 15% crit resist, which gives her more survivability. So if you can get her to 5 dupes, if you're going to wail, basically, go ahead, summon, get her to 5 dupes. If you're not planning to get her to 5 dupes, I would say just keep her where she's at. You don't need to get any dupes at all. Okay, so that's kind of where I'm at on the summoning and enhancement. Let me know your guys' thoughts down in the comments. And then we have talent. So we'll start with the dumb one first, attack. She's never going to be doing the most damage, so I wouldn't really even worry about this tree or what you're going to use. Obviously you want to get them all done so you can get the extra stone in here and just enhance her stats overall, but I would just go for like magic attack and stacking crit rate. You could also go for damage dealt, and you could go for crit damage. You could go for these two as well. I probably wouldn't go for the attack one. I probably wouldn't go for the attack against a boss. Okay, so these two or these two down here would be what I go for on the attack tree. For the defense tree, the most important one you're going to want is increase max HP to increase their healing, so you definitely want that one. Then the other one I would recommend is grants defense plus 4% and stacking crit resist. It's just way better than, I would argue, the fortify buff after being attacked by a boss. Like, this is really your only option if you're going to run the HP one, right? So that's kind of what you have to do. And then for the support tree, I would also run this right here, which is going to give her SP back when she has less than 2 SPs at the start of a turn. SPs are special points for her special move, and as I said, her special move is the one I would upgrade first because it is the best move in her kit in my opinion. It is very, very good. So I would recommend getting swiftness, and then I would also recommend doing the HP recovery receive plus 5%, just to once again help keep her healthy and alive and supporting your team. So those are kind of the talents I would run. In terms of talent stones right here, I'd probably do a speed stone. I would do probably a defense stone right here. And then right here, maybe a magic attack stone or something. This one doesn't really matter. Crit rate, whatever. For that one, it just does not matter. And last but not least, we need to talk about the teams that she can fit on. So I have two teams that I'm going to show to you. One of them is this team right here, and the other one is a mono blue team. I'm actually probably a little bit bigger fan of the mono blue team because I like it a lot, but this team right here, it would probably be pretty successful, okay? So you have Charlotte, who does damage reduction. You also have a Noelle, who does damage reduction and healing. Then you have Marileona, who is a really good tank and does continuous damage to the enemy team. And then you have Fuegoleon, who can nuke the enemy team using Marileona's extra burns that she applies to the enemy team. And then all the while, he has immortality. You have her healing everybody, and also just the amount of damage reduction you have from these characters is insane. So you have a really defensive team that can heal while also nuking the enemy team. Like, this is a very solid all-around team for like PvP and potentially even PvE. It'd be pretty good for. And then the other option would be this mono blue team right here. So this is another team that I would say is actually very defensive. So you have Zora, obviously giving extra damage reduction and stuff with his traps. He also has the reflect. You have her giving the damage reduction and the healing. You have him being a tank, also doing pretty big damage with his skill 1. And then you have Luck as well, having damage reduction on himself and having the counter and just doing massive amounts of damage and giving counterattack to the whole team. So this is another very, very, very good option you can run for a mono blue team, and Noelle fits really, really well on this team. And that is generally it for Noelle's build guide. If you guys enjoyed the video, please consider going down there, hitting that like button, and hitting that subscribe button. Thank you guys so much for watching. Peace.